Welcome to the Native Diamond Podcast.
Oh, shit! What you waiting for?
Please don't forget to like the video, hit subscribe, ring the bell. That way you're notified every time I drop a new episode of Native Diamond Podcast. This is Native Diamond Podcast. I'm Seth Mick, and today I'm here with Mark Bradley, the singer of Disappear. Thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, dude.
Yeah, for sure. So let's open it up. I'll let you, give yourself a quick bio, let the listeners know about yourself a little bit.
I'm Mark. I sing for Disappear. We're a metallic hardcore act out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. Got a lot of various influences as far as like what makes the band who we are. I would say we draw a lot of inspiration from like Integrity, and we've been compared to like Turmoil.
I can see that.
A little bit of Despair, which I love Scott Vogel, so
Right.
But yeah.
Cool. So how is quarantine going for you right now?
It's not too bad. I mean, it sucks because like the weather's been kind of shitty this week. Mm-hmm. But like my fiance and I, we've been finding stuff around the house to keep us busy. Like I think the first week we cleaned our house from like top to bottom, all the closets, like our garage and everything. And then we just kind of like ran out of shit to do. So we've been kind of finding stuff to do. Mm-hmm. But it's cool though.
Have you picked up any hobbies or done anything with your time?
I've read a little bit. Like I picked up a couple of comics yesterday.
Cool.
I got like 3 issues of Absolute Carnage, which I was pretty psyched on. Been waiting to read that since like the summertime. Just playing like video games. We did start doing yoga together though, so that's been cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, are you straight edge yourself? I saw that your band was tagged with straight edge, but
yeah, I'm straight edge. I've been straight edge probably close to a decade now. Mm-hmm. I led kind of a reckless lifestyle when I was in my 20s. I'm 35 now. Mm-hmm. And through that experience, it kind of brought me to where I am now. I was married to a drug addict when I was in the Army, and because of the stuff that she was doing while I was in Afghanistan, I came home and basically like got filed for divorce like 2 weeks after being home. And because of like what I found out that my son had gone through, it really made me want to change my lifestyle and be better. Mm-hmm. And straight edge just seemed kind of like the natural thing to do. And it was like it was a promise that I made to myself and to my kids that I was going to be better.
That's really cool, dude. So how many kids do you have? You said
I have 2 kids. I have a daughter and a son. My daughter is 14 and my son will be 10 in August.
Oh, cool, man. So you got your hands full.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Fort Wayne, where you guys are from.
Fort Wayne is it's a small, big city. We're the second largest city in Indiana. So it's got that kind of like small town vibe to it. But, we have like sports teams and stuff like that. Maybe not like the major level, like some of the bigger cities, but we have those amenities to offer that some of the other larger cities would have. Mm-hmm. We're starting to get a good music scene back. I started going to shows when I was in my like late teen years, probably like 16, 17 is when I started going to shows. Mm-hmm. And we had a good music scene then. And then I kind of got out of it for a little while, and then I was gone for 10 years while I was in the Army. And so since I've been back, I've been seeing quite a bit of a revitalization in the Fort Wayne scene. You got a dude like Gray Gordon, who's got an all ages venue that he runs at his house, and that's super fucking rad that we have that.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been good about making it, like it's an inclusive thing with hardcore where you don't have to feel like it's a popularity contest or anything like that, like everybody's welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the community here, I mean, I could be wrong, but it doesn't feel very strong. So that's good that you guys have that. I feel like a lot of bands kind of skip over Charlotte and they go to Greensboro because the fan base isn't huge here. So it's kind of unfortunate, but that's good that you guys are, you have a scene out there to identify with. Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not too far from like Indy and Chicago and Detroit. So we get crowds from there. Or we go up to shows there. In fact, some of my bandmates and we went down to Indy right before the quarantine happened, and we saw the Terror show with Magnitude and Restraining Order.
Oh shit!
Yeah, our buddies Treason played that one, so nice. It was cool getting to see those dudes.
Who are you listening to a lot of right now? Like, what's your favorite band? I guess.
I've been listening to a lot of Deftones lately, honestly.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I fucking love that band.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird, because of this whole quarantine, I feel like I've been really disconnected from the hardcore scene. I've made this comment before that it almost feels like my identity was stripped away a little bit. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I've just been listening to Deftones, a little bit of some hip hop stuff.
Yeah. What kind of stuff you listen to? What kind of hip hop?
A little bit of MF Doom.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that kind of stuff. Oh,
that's cool, man. But do you draw from other influences like hip hop in your music, or maybe writing, I guess, or?
Yeah, it's weird. I get inspiration from a lot of different music styles and writers. I found more recently in my writing, I got some influences from Matt Skiba, mm-hmm. Just the way that he structures his lyrics. And so it's kind of cool how you don't have to listen to the genre that you're writing about, or writing for, I should say, to get inspiration.
Mm-hmm. What what are some of your influences? What are some reoccurring themes that you see in the album?
So our last record that we put out, Momentum, it's been out almost a year now. Well, it'll be a year in August. There's a lot of different themes, ranging from my own battle that I've had with mental health and suicidal ideations to the more political side, and then getting into animal rights. Mm-hmm. One of our more popular songs, Conveyor, is about animal rights. That's something that we're all pretty passionate about. Yeah,
so you yourself, you're a vegan, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So what about your other bandmates? Are they as well, or?
One of the guitar players is also vegan and straight edge. And then our bass player, he's kind of dabbling in that a little bit. Him and his wife have been trying to go that route. None of us are really, the other ones, I should say, they're not really big meat eaters, but they still support the whole animal rights movement.
Mm-hmm. Anything in particular, life decision to go vegan?
So I was living in Korea 5 years ago, and one of my friends was like, hey, you should check out this documentary. It's a documentary called Earthlings that Joaquin Phoenix directed. And I watched it, and it was gut wrenching, some of the shit that you see. It starts off talking about like kill shelters, and then it moves into the more industrialized farming aspect of it. And it's just like, how many times have we sat down to eat something and we've never considered where it came from? You know, you never considered that that was a living being before.
Yeah.
You knew in your mind that was an animal at one time, but you didn't think about what it went through. And that to me was like that turning point where I was like, you know, I can't do this anymore. I can't like consciously keep continuing to live this kind of a life. So I went vegetarian for a little while, and I was already basically still living like a vegan lifestyle. And I was like, well, I might as well just, you know, commit fully. So, yeah.
All right. Yeah. So I'm a chef actually outside of this podcast stuff. It's
right on.
Obviously more of a hobby, but
yeah,
like, I've had to break down all kinds of different animals and stuff. And that has made me kind of stay away from it a lot because
sure.
Dude, I had to break down some chicken the other day, and the breasts were literally as big as like my chest or whatever. And it's just that much, you know, they're just being pumped full of hormones.
Dude, yeah, seriously. That's it too. That's like one of the things that they talked about in that documentary was like how, you know, they pump these chickens full of stuff like that, and they can barely support the weight of their own legs, and they just like collapse and die. And then you have them getting sick and infecting the other animals that they're living around. Like pigs, a lot of times when pigs get sick like that, they'll chop the pig up and feed it right back to the other pigs. So you're eating all that diseased meat.
That's terrible.
God. One's got a song about that called Beef.
Yeah. So do you like Earth Crisis?
I love Earth Crisis.
Was that a big inspiration you like growing up, or?
Yes and no. I would say more like Youth of Today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a barber? Is that your okay? Yeah, I was kind of just checking out your page, and I was trying to get to know you a little bit. So I was like, all right, so he's a barber and he skateboards.
Yeah.
So like, do you skate often, or do you just skate like whenever?
I used to when I was younger. I skated a lot. I started skating in 90. God, it feels like forever saying that. Yeah, I started skating in 90, and I skated pretty seriously off and on as a kid, and then in my teens and my 20s. And then I got hurt, oddly enough. Like most of it happened in Korea. I broke my foot. I dislocated my shoulder, and like I tore the labrum in my right shoulder. So I've had 3 surgeries in that. I had surgery on my foot. So I haven't really skated as much like I used to, but here recently I've been getting out and trying to skate more.
Yeah, I'm from California, and I grew up skateboarding. So I've broke my ankle. Yeah, I've been through that. It sucks.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It's not the same after you injure yourself.
No, it's not. Because then you're just scared the whole time. And
yeah, dude, for real.
Just question yourself, like things that you would normally do, you're just kind of scared to attempt. I mean, it's more of a mental thing, I think. Exactly.
Yeah, that's totally what it is. With like flip tricks, I have a hard time getting myself to land them now because I'm afraid that I'm going to land on my foot and break it again. Because like what happened was I was like towards the end of the night, I was hanging out with some friends, and I was kind of like showing off. I went to go ollie over a manhole cover, and my foot went out like an ollie north.
Yeah.
But, like, it didn't come back, and I came down on like the edge of my foot, and my board on top of it. So I broke that metatarsal in my on my right foot. Oh, it sucked, dude. And I lived on like the 4th floor of my building too, so I had to like hobble up the stairs.
Oh, God. What was the recovery time like? How long did you have to stay out?
A couple months.
Man,
yeah,
that's rough.
I had surgery on it, and then they had me in like one of those like rubber boots for a little while. So I had to wear that and crutch my way around for a while. And then I was supposed to do physical therapy, and then that just didn't happen for whatever reason. So it never really healed like it should have. So I would just like go out and just kind of like slowly cruise around trying to get comfortable on my board again, and just like slowly working my way back up.
Do you think like skateboarding culture got you into heavy music?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My older brother and my cousin were a big influence on me as a kid. They were both skaters. They both listened to like thrash and stuff and death metal, and introduced me to like a wide array of music. And I think I just kind of like took that and ran with it. They quit skating. They kind of quit listening to that kind of stuff, and I just kept going with it and like branched out. Bands that stick out in my mind though that they introduced me to, like Metallica. We had all the Metallica cassettes when I was younger. And then was it like 91, 92, my brother got a hold of Rage Against the Machine's demo and showed me that, and that just like changed my whole world.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that band will do it to you for sure.
Dude, yeah.
So I just want to ask this question as kind of off the hip or whatever, but I've been wanting to ask people, but so you know how some artists they have this starving artist mentality, and they're like, you know, making money is bad, that's selling out. Like, what is your take on that whole subject?
I mean, if you can make money, great. I'm not in it for that. I'm in it strictly for the joy of playing music and spreading a message of positivity. And, you know, maybe one of my life experiences, somebody else can they can relate to it, or something I've said in one of our songs resonates with them. And like, I don't know, hopefully changes their perspective on something, or like helps them get through a difficult time, like music's done for me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not against people making money playing music, but at what cost though? You know, like, do you sell yourself out and sell your, like, are you giving up on the things that made you who you were, that made you successful to begin with? Or, you know, are you just actually just being successful, making money? You take a band like, like Knocked Loose, you know?
Okay.
I think those dudes are pretty genuine about what they do, and they're pretty successful.
Right. That's true. That question gets brought up a lot on the podcast because, you know, I like to cover a lot of newer bands, whether it be more mainstream or whatever, but I try to have more of a variety than just like one type of music, you know?
Yeah.
So, because, you know, I don't know who the listener is, you know, I don't know what they're into. So I try to do a disarray of different things or whatever. Sure. And the reason to reach out to you is because I wanted more hardcore presence in the show. Yeah. So I was like, well, I don't want to pick out these big hardcore bands. I want to pick these guys out that are actually still, you know, doing it and doing it right. Something I really enjoyed about Disappear was it feels like an updated version of like Earth Crisis. You know, I'm just throwing that out there. Earth Crisis,
thank
whatever.
you so much.
But you know what I mean? Like the production, it doesn't sound as rough as it did because of the quality of recording back in the day.
Right.
You guys sound a lot more polished and, you know, technologically advanced, whatever. So I just think that people that are into older hardcore should check out this new stuff because the quality of music has just gone up, you know.
Right, yeah.
Equipment is way better than it used to be.
Right, yeah, I totally agree.
So, you know, with that in mind, what is your opinion of the current state of metal and hardcore music in general?
I think it's better now than it has been in years, you know. We're definitely on the upswing of things, but with music, I feel like there's also an ebb and flow, you know. It might be popular right now, and then, because I don't know, it seems like there's new bands coming out every day, you know, and like the scene in a way is kind of getting overly saturated, but like not in a bad way. So I think maybe eventually it might kind of like die off again, like it did for a little while, and go underground again.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy, you know. You have bands like Code Orange and Incendiary that have played on WWE,
right,
and like really exposed the mainstream world to hardcore in a different way. So I think it's great that we have stuff like that. And then you have, again, you have bands like Knock Loose that are playing big shows, and they're playing with the more mainstream bands, you know. So again, that's another avenue that kids are getting exposed to our world.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, you know, they hear that and they're like, wow, I want to go check out who influenced that band. And, you know, and then they discover, I don't know, that's kind of like how I used to do it back in the day. You'd always like get a CD or whatever, and you'd like flip to the liner notes and like check out the thank yous.
Mm-hmm.
And be like, oh,
yeah,
such and such band. And then you go to the record store and you're like, yeah, I want to get this record.
yeah. I think my first album was like Sublime, the self-titled, yeah. And they shouted out like Pennywise and all these guys, Pepper. So I got into that shit for a little bit, you know, like coming up, and then eventually I got into punk. So yeah, like definitely, I see what you're saying. Like, you know, when other bands recommend other bands, then you're like, okay, I like this band, so I'll check out this guy.
Yeah,
and I appreciate that you said Knock Loose, because they're doing it right, you know, like they're really getting a lot of younger people into the community, and I really applaud them for that. And I really enjoy Code Orange as well. Like they're one of my new like favorite hardcore bands or whatever. I think they're more like prog metal, but you know, their earlier stuff was definitely hardcore.
Yeah, I'm not really big on them. I've seen them quite a bit, and they put on a hell of a show. I'll give them that.
Did you see the live stream on
did.
Twitch?
Yeah, I was honestly really impressed by the visuals and stuff that they had, and the way that Sonny from Hate 56 put all that together. And the fact that they did that in like 48 hours is just fucking bananas.
Yeah, it is. So now that coronavirus has kind of hit, and you know, live performances are out the window right now, do you think that, you know, you guys are going to live stream maybe in the future, or you guys exploring any kind of option like that?
We had talked about it before everything really happened, and we all have kids, so we're kind of just like staying away from each other because of that. I've seen other bands though that they have like cameras and stuff set up, and they're all playing their own individual parts, and then they like throw it together and make a video out of it, which I thought was cool, but we don't really have the capabilities of doing that, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like that was going to be like the norm for a little while, that there was going to be like live stream shows, and then that kind of just got nixed.
Yeah.
So that really sucks.
Well, it could happen one day, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I just miss music in general, shows, being around other people.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I was gonna go to the Thy Art Is Murder show, and it got canceled right before all the stuff started popping off. And I was like, damn, because that was gonna be the first show of the year for me. So
yeah,
and yeah, I was wanting to get coverage, and everything just kind of went to shit. But I mean, we're doing the best we can, you know. Like, it's all we can do is wait it out. I mean, we don't really have an option. So
yeah, how is it there right now with the virus?
It's pretty bad. Like, have you gone to the grocery store lately?
Yeah.
Like, is everyone like masked up and gloved up and all that?
Yes and no. My fiance and I, we wear one when we go out. We see other people, but for the most part, there's people that are walking around like nothing's happening. You know, they're not distancing themselves from other people at the store. They're all up on each other in lines. And it's just really frustrating. The other day when we were at the store, there was a girl that was with her boyfriend or whatever, and she coughed and like didn't cover her mouth and then laughed.
Ah,
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
yeah. Yeah, because that freaking bus driver, he died because someone coughed on him, and that was all over the news. I mean, yeah, it's a scary time.
Yeah.
I mean, was it in China? Aren't they like taking temps of people as they're walking by and making sure no one has a fever?
I haven't heard about that, but I've heard that grocery stores are talking about doing that here.
I mean,
taking
I don't think it would hurt, you know?
No, it wouldn't.
I mean, we have to take precautions. I mean, so what do you think about personally the skepticism in the nation? You see it all over social media, you know, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists and stuff like that. What is your take on the whole conspiracy part of the coronavirus?
You mean like with the 5G towers and the corona radiation?
Well, there's a lot of it, but yeah, I'll listen to that one too. I've heard that one as well.
Yeah. Dude, I've seen so many of these like crazy crackpot theories, but those two are the main ones that I've seen. That it's 5G technology that's causing the virus, and I don't think it has anything to do with that at all. It came from that wet market in Wuhan, and you know, I don't know if it was from tainted meat or if there was an infected, because I've heard that it was like a fish market and like a bat bit somebody or bit a fish or something like that, and somebody ate it and then they traveled and spread it.
Yeah. I've heard the origin of a bat. I've heard that. I don't know. I've been hearing a lot of people think it's biological, and
I've heard that too. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know really what to believe. Me personally, I don't trust mainstream, news. They're going to tell people shit, I'm not going to shoot my theory out there or whatever.
Yeah, no, I feel you on that. None of us know, though,
Yeah.
With any of this, we're all just kind of like reaching for answers at this point. I feel like I've been saying this to a lot of people lately, that we're kind of just like fumbling our way through the dark.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah, it's pure speculation.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It is biological. It's not like we're ever going to know,
That's true. I mean, it's a scary time right now. It's going to probably take a long time for live shows to get back in effect. I heard in California they're talking about not even having a live show until they have a vaccine. I mean, that's kind of that's kind of radical thinking, in my opinion, because, I mean, even if you have a vaccine, I mean, you have to test that thing usually for a year before you know the side effects and things like that.
Exactly.
I mean, if you start shooting all these people up with vaccine, I mean, you could create something even worse, or, I mean, you don't know what could happen. So that's kind of scary to think about.
I guess back to your initial question you just asked there, the way I look at it is, I don't know, I hate to sound nihilistic here, but humanity, we are a plague on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look around you, how nature has started to return back to normal. How, what was it, Los Angeles, the skies are clear now because of factories being shut down. There's no more smog, and you have animals running loose on bridges and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's like, because of that, I feel like maybe this thing might be the Earth's way of cleansing itself.
Yeah, I could see that, like a purge.
Yeah. I mean, I know that probably sounds kind of crazy, but it's just kind of the way I look at it. That,
yeah, I could see that. I could totally see that. I mean, all right, so back to me, like, I'm a chef or whatever. So, like, meat industry, they're polluting the earth so much, just with the cattle and slaughtering the cows and all these resources it takes to feed these animals. It's not good for the environment by any means, but
no.
You kind of get this like hate love thing. You either have people that love that side of it, or they hate it. So they're like, proponents of meat or meat eating, whatever.
Yeah. and it seems like the more that you talk to people about this, the more they want to like double down on their stance on it. They're like, "Oh yeah, I'm a meat eater," and like I don't know. I used to be in the plumber and steam fitter trade for a little while, and I had dudes in the trade that were telling me that I was somehow less of a man because I didn't eat meat.
What?
They were like, "Yeah, if you ate a steak once in a while, you probably wouldn't get sick." I don't understand how eating meat equates to masculinity, but whatever.
Well, that's a G.I. Joe toting statement right there. But I mean, all you're really getting from meat is B12, and if you supplement that, then I mean, I don't really think you need meat in your diet.
You don't. And the thing about it is people that claim that they get protein from meat, well, where the hell do you think the animals get the protein from?
Right.
It comes from the plants that they eat. You're just getting secondhand protein.
I saw that in a vegetarian vegan documentary. They were like, you don't see animals eating that shit, and they're strong as hell. They're getting it from plants. So
yeah.
I mean, I think we evolved from plants anyways. I mean, vegetarian diet is a part of the evolution of human.
We are. I mean, by nature, we're supposed to be omnivores. Our teeth are designed that way. If you look at the science behind it, over time, we have conditioned ourselves to become hunter-gatherers and eat meat. Mm-hmm. But we're at this point in life now where we don't have to. We can sustain ourselves completely off of a plant-based diet.
Yeah, for sure. Like, how hard is that for you? Like, when you're going out to eat to a different restaurant or whatever, say you don't see like a vegan option on the menu, like what is your go-to?
It just depends. We typically don't go anywhere that doesn't have at least one or two vegan options. And there's ways around that. You can order things like let's say you want to go to a diner, and you know how like they usually make hash browns. They put a lot of butter on it. You can ask to not have your hash browns cooked in butter and just have it cooked in oil. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I like to do. There's a couple of diners around here that I go to. I'll do that. I get hash browns, and I'll have them dice up some like onion and jalapeno, and that's good enough as it is, Yeah. Or there's always like fresh fruit options. But a lot of places around here, honestly, they have a lot of vegan options. It's crazy. We have a couple of fully vegan restaurants, which are fucking fantastic. We have Savory, which is like your more like junk food stuff. They have like burgers and fries.
Oh, cool.
And then there's another place called Loving Cafe, which is more of like on the healthier side. So those are both really cool places. And then all the burger places now have like Beyond Burgers, or they have the Impossible Burgers. So that's always another option. But for the most part, we just stay at home and cook. My fiance is a hell of a cook.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to all the cooks at home.
Right. Yeah, we've been eating good, man.
That's cool. So you guys haven't been having to run to the store. Did you stockpile before this started, or?
We go to the store probably every couple of days or so, just because of the stuff that we use. We run out of. I don't know. It's hard right now trying to balance between stretching your money out and buying shit in bulk.
Right.
We don't really have the option of going out and buying mass amounts of stuff. So we'll go like every few days or whatever, just get things that we need. But we're pretty safe about it, I would say.
Right. Well, I did hear about like the meat manufacturing. I heard that like Smithfield's, they had a bunch of employees that were infected. I think it was almost 300 people, and they had to basically shut down production. Wow. So a lot of people are kind of in that phase now again where they're stockpiling meat because they're scared they're not going to be able to get any. But I mean, you don't need meat to survive.
No.
I went for the pasta. I was going for dry goods and stuff that I could hold out on,
Yeah, that was gone for the longest time too.
Right.
It's weird. So like, I don't know about there, but here the first thing that went was the toilet paper and that stuff. And then people started buying up produce. They were buying all the produce. In fact, we went one time and the only thing that they had were onions and like cabbage.
What?
Yeah. And then it was like cat litter.
What?
and pasta. Pasta was another big one. All the sauce was gone. All the pasta was gone. The only thing that they didn't buy up were like the organic pastas. You know, the bougie shit that costs like $4 a box.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But yeah, dude, that's crazy. Like the thing that's crazy to me is like I look at everyone's feed and people from like Australia and New Zealand all the way to your end in Indiana, you know, everyone's just fucking buying shit. It's just buying everything. It's like everywhere across the nation.
I don't understand why. It's not like grocery stores have said they're going to close down. If anything, that's like the most essential thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So do you think that is making it kind of overhyped? Do you think that's kind of making it what it is?
Yes and no. I feel like the ones that go out and buy shit, it's kind of like a chain reaction. They start it, and then other people are like, well, man, all these people are freaking out and buying all this stuff, so maybe I should, so that they don't buy it all.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like this vicious cycle.
It's crazy, man.
Have stores started to stock back up there?
Yeah, it took a little while, and you know, I know you don't drink or whatever, but you know, we drink occasionally, and went to the liquor store, and you're only allowed one at a time. Yeah. And then you have to like tell them like what you want or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's just everything's weird about this, you know.
They're not even letting people in the liquor store here now. They have somebody sitting outside. Yeah, they're outside with like a cooler or whatever, and they're taking your order at the door.
Oh, shit. Is there like a cop standing there and watching, patrolling the area?
I've noticed.
Because that's been the case here. Like every liquor store, there's like a cop in the parking lot, just making sure nothing pops off.
Yeah, no, I haven't noticed that.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, I don't know. I think it's gonna take a while to get over this, dude. Honestly, I think it's wishful thinking to say it'll be like a month or 2 months. I mean, there'll probably be a second wave of this shit.
I don't know, man. You know, they've already talked about this thing mutating. I know right now from what I've read that there are two different strains. There's an L strain and an S strain. And who knows, you know, the effects that's going to have. It could mutate again further the longer this thing goes.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember back to like basic biology class in high school, you know, how they talk about something going into your RNA and replicating itself and corrupting your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least that was like what HIV does.
Right.
I don't know.
HIV. Well, this is like SARS too. So I mean, it's after your immune system as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I shouldn't talk about this shit.
I'm just babbling about like what I remember from high school, but I don't know. I thought it was more like upper respiratory from what and like your heart. Yeah,
that's what I heard. I heard like you get like pneumonia, and that's basically it, and you get a mad fever. But anyway, everyone knows about Corona, I guess, at this point. So
yeah, it's nothing that anybody hasn't heard yet, I guess.
Yeah. So like back to your album, I'll just kind of get out of that. We'll segue out of that topic.
Yeah.
So back to your album. So like, what are some themes that you want, you know, people to know? Like, what is different about you guys that, you know, should be heard, I guess, or what message are you trying to get across?
That's an interesting question. I've not really thought about that, to be honest. I don't really hear anybody doing the same kind of riffs that we have. We're not really talking about anything that nobody's really said before. Maybe we have a different spin on it. I guess my thing is I kind of want people to just like, we're all humans, we're all capable of making mistakes. You don't have to be defined by those. You don't have to be defined by your mental health or your political leanings or anything like that.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, everyone's so political, and it's kind of refreshing for people to kind of question things right now. And, I just think that the government's kind of out of hand a lot of the time. And I hope I don't get shot for saying that. But, especially with all the shit that we're seeing, I feel like they're taking away rights left and right. And they're kind of doing it blindly by putting the coronavirus shield over, what's going on. So, it's kind of a scary thing, too. Like, I just think that government has a lot more power in our lives than we really think and know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's refreshing that, there's still music out there where people are talking about this stuff. Because, I feel like in pop music, they try to like throw all the shit under the rug and like hide it under like this veil of like, we're having fun and it's a party and, that shit. But like no one really talks about like real shit anymore.
Well, that's the difference between, like punk rock and hardcore and the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, I don't know, I wouldn't say that they don't have a message, but I would say that it's more like you said, it's like a thinly veiled thing, and we're talking about the shit that we see on a daily basis that frustrates us, and there's other people out there that feel the same way, and that's why we all come together and go to shows, and why we listen to aggressive stuff, because it's an outlet. It helps us deal with the shit that we don't have any control of.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if we didn't have those things, I would probably lose my mind,
Yeah. Just
because of all the stress and anxiety, especially right now with shit that's going on, like you said, I absolutely agree. The government is 100% out of hand right now. Just the shit with the stimulus checks, how I was hearing that people that are getting paper checks, they might be getting delayed because Trump wants to put his name on those. Like, get the fuck out of here with that egomaniacal shit.
I didn't even hear that. That's crazy.
Oh, you haven't heard that?
No, I haven't. No.
And
that's crazy. I mean, this is all like just a re-election thing, in my opinion. So I'm just like, he's helping, I guess, but I think there's something, underneath it.
Yeah, of course. It's like you said, yeah, it's all tactics to try to get reelected.
All right. So, I appreciate your time today. I don't want to hold you forever, but I do want to, ask one last question. And it's
Sure.
The question I like to ask everyone as I leave. So what do you think the future of hardcore and metal is, in your opinion? Like, what's your take on it? Like some ideas to pop in your head, but like, I see a lot more like one-man band guys like Iron Sharpens Iron, and
yeah,
I see a lot more of that kind of stuff. So like, do you think it's going to go that way, or do you think it's going to be more like, I don't know, what's your take on it?
I think right now, just for people's sake, keeping that creative energy going, it's good that we have those projects like that. I don't think that that's necessarily going to become the norm. I think those have always kind of existed. I can think of a few bands that kind of started like that, where you had one person that did everything, and then eventually they brought other members in to round it out and have a full band. But like I was saying earlier, I feel like we're definitely on the upswing of things. There's more and more bands coming out, putting out great material. It seemed like last year alone was like the year of like great records. I don't know if you listen to Magnitude or not, but they put out my personal favorite record last year.
Okay, I'll check them out. I'm not gonna lie and say I did. I mean, I haven't checked out Magnitude, but I'll check them out.
Yeah, they're from down in your area.
Oh shit! Now I feel like an asshole. But so yeah, I mean, That was really cool. I really appreciate you being on the show. Also, let me see the neck tattoo. I just want to. Oh, that's dope. See, I got this guy. I don't know if you can see. I got this diamond right here in my.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah, so I was like, oh shit.
My buddy Greg did this for me. He did the Tesla piece that's here on the side too.
Oh, badass.
Yeah.
How many hours do you have? If you could just throw out a number.
Oh shit. I don't even know, man. I've got probably at least 10 in my neck.
Shit.
I probably have a good 30, 40 hours worth of work, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm not like, completely covered, but like my whole left arm is, most of my right leg is. I've got a bunch of stuff. My right arm, my hands, my neck, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. I still have a whole bunch of open space right here that I'm waiting to fill in.
Oh yeah. Anything like any bad horror tattoo stories or any funny tattoo stories you want to share?
Funny. Yeah. One of my friends and I, we have matching thigh tattoos. It's a pterodactyl with a blonde wig sitting on top of a hypodermic needle. My friend's shop down in Tennessee, we went in there one day, and I guess that tattoo kind of became infamous around that area. So it was kind of funny. I've got a whole like part of my sleeve here that's fucked up though. When I was stationed in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, I went to a small shop, and the dude that tattooed me, I didn't know at the time, was on heroin and like fucked my shit. Yeah. So, and it's a cover up of another bad tattoo. So I have like two bad tattoos on top of each other.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I'm either going to get that lasered off or maybe just like blast it over. I'm not doing the whole blackout thing. I think that shit's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. I don't think I could live with that.
I don't know why that's gotten so popular either. You know, have you seen that?
I have. I mean, most notably, I guess Ollie Sykes. He was like the first guy I saw like with in like mainstream bullshit.
Oh, he's blacked out.
Yeah, but it's kind of interesting. Like it's blacked out, but like the skin is like the outline. I don't know how to describe it, but like it's not totally blacked out. There's like.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a negative image.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Davey Havoc did that too. He blacked out his arms.
Oh shit.
Yeah. I don't know why.
I don't really see it a lot, honestly.
I don't know. I saw it for a little while. I think it was more like a European thing.
Yeah, probably. Well, any final thoughts you want to leave the viewers with to tell about your band or your album or anything else you want to say before we head out?
Yeah. First and foremost, shout out to Blind Rage Records for putting us out. Our good buddy James has that label. Check them out. They've got some dope releases on there. The Life Force 7-inch is on there. We have a new I should say we have a new record that was supposed to be coming out. We were supposed to be recording for that next month, but obviously that's going to be put on hold. But we're tentatively doing a couple of 7-inches for that.
Cool.
We had a tour that was planned, but that got canceled also. So, yeah, just be on the lookout for new stuff coming eventually, whenever the thing lists.
Yeah, definitely. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you being on the show. Mark Bradley here, the singer of Disappear. You guys check out their metallic hardcore band. Their new album is out, Momentum, and I'll plug those links from Bandcamp.
Sure.
And any other links that you want to plug, I'll share them as well. That way the viewers can check those out. And I just really appreciate your time, dude, for real. Thank you so much for
having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man. Well, that pretty much does it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like the video and subscribe. That way you don't miss a new episode of Native Diamond Podcast. And until I see you guys on a future video, shine on.